Now, to create a React component, we right-click on the source folder and add a new file called message.tsx. So the extension of TypeScript files should be either ts or tsx. Quite often, we use ts for plain TypeScript files and tsx for React components. Now, there are two ways to create a React component. We can use a JavaScript class or a function. These days, function-based components have become more popular because they're more concise and easier to write. So that's what we'll use in this course. But if you're maintaining an older React project that is built with class components, you can look at my previous React course to learn about them. But function-based components are the recommended approach for new projects. So here we declare a function called message. Now pay attention to how I have named this function. This convention is called Pascal casing. With Pascal casing, we should capitalize the first letter of every word, in this case P and C. It's really important to follow this convention because this is the convention that both React and other developers expect us to follow. So in React application, whenever we want to create a function component, we should always follow Pascal casing. Now, here we should describe what the UI is going to look like where we use this component. So let's say wherever we use this component, we want to render an h1 element with a message like hello world. So here we return an h1 element with hello world. Now this syntax might make you a little bit confused. You might be thinking that we're writing HTML code in the middle of JavaScript code, but that is not correct. This syntax you see here is called JSX, which is short for JavaScript XML. So this code under the hood is going to get compiled down to JavaScript. If you head over to babelJS.io/REPL, that is REPL, you can see how this code gets converted to JavaScript. Let me show you. So on the left side, we can write JSX code like h1 hello world. And on the right side, we can see the equivalent JavaScript code. So this piece of code gets eventually converted to React.createElement. The type of element is h1 and the message inside the element is hello world. So this is a very basic component. Now, to use this, first we need to export it as a default object from this module. Now let's go to the app component and use this new component. So back to our project. Here's the app component. Now we're going to delete everything in this file. Now let's create a new component called app. Now in this component, let's say we want to have a div, and inside the div, we want to have our message component. So first we need to import our message component from period/message. So period means the current folder. Now we can use this component just like regular HTML elements. So we add the opening tag and close it. It's really important to close it. We should always close our React components or we'll get a compilation error. Now here we can also use the self-closing syntax that is more concise. Now, just like the message component, we should export the app component so it can be used somewhere else. Now here in the terminal, you can see our web server is still running. And here we have HMR, which is short for hot module replacement. So Vite under the hood monitors our files for changes. Whenever we make any changes, it will automatically refresh our page in the browser. So now you can see our message component rendered on the screen. Now, this is a very simple example. In a real-world application, a component can have behavior. So here we can have a button. When the button gets clicked, perhaps we can change the message. We can do all sorts of things. So with JSX, we can easily describe the user interface of our application with HTML and JavaScript. Now, the great thing about JSX is that it allows us to easily create dynamic content. For example, here we can declare a constant called name. I set it to my name, Mosh. Now, we can replace this word with my name dynamically. So here we add braces, and inside the braces, we can write any JavaScript expression. An expression is a piece of code that produces a value. So here we can reference the name constant. We can also call a function like getName, basically any piece of code that returns a value. So here we can add my name dynamically. We can also write if statements. So we can say if name is truthy, return this markup. Otherwise, return a different markup like hello world. Now back to the browser. You can see my name is rendered on the screen. However, if I change the name to an empty string, we see hello world. So this is the beauty of JSX. Using this syntax, we can easily describe the user interface of our applications.